Welcome to Blackpool, the Las Vegas of the North. This is a place that's synonymous with fish and chips, donkey rides, slot machines, and kiss me quick hats. If it's entertainment you're looking for, then this is the place. It's welcomed the world's biggest stars and played host to the world's biggest comedy legends. And here I am on the famous comedy carpet at the very base of Blackpool Tower. Do you know, I'm really looking forward to this video. I'm going to go all around the country to find as many iconic comedy legends immortalised as statues. And where better to start than here, on a piece of art that celebrates comedy that played here in beautiful Blackpool. Anyway, my name's Neil Hurst, and you look like the kind of person that just wants to click that subscribe button before we hit the go button on this video. So if you're ready, I'm ready. This is the comedy carpet, and this is the comedy legends video. Enjoy. So, before we start, I better introduce myself. If you've not seen me before, my name's Neil Hurst. I'm an actor, a singer, a male model. Well, maybe not so much of that. But many, many years ago, I started my career here in Blackpool, doing summer seasons of variety shows, maybe on the North Pier or the Opera House or Winter Gardens, or even this place here, Blackpool Tower. Now, I've worked with some great superstars over the years, I've been really fortunate to work with some real comedy legends, a few of which we're going to see statues of later in this video. But I thought it'd be really good to start the video right here, where comedy really matters, here in sunny Blackpool. And the first statue I'm going to go see just happens to be around the corner. Now, unfortunately, I can't actually get in to see it. You see, it's outside the Winter Gardens Theatre, but the Winter Gardens at the moment are being used for Britain's Got Talent, and it's all locked down. But luckily, I've managed to find a bit of stock footage, so you can see exactly who I'm talking about. Few double acts have captured the heart of Britain quite like Morecambe and Wise. Eric Morecambe, the quick-witted joker with the mischievous grin, and Ernie Wise, the straight man who always thought that he was the classy one. They first met as teenagers on the variety circuit, honing their act through music halls, radio and early television, but it wasn't until the 1960s and 70s that they truly became national treasures. The Morecambe and Wise show pulled in audiences of over 20 million viewers, and their Christmas specials, well, they practically became a British institution. And their statue is just inside here, the Blackpool Winter Gardens. But when I arrived at the Winter Gardens, it was all locked down because Britain's Got Talent have taken over, filming their latest series. I suppose I shouldn't really complain much. I mean, who knows? In this building right now, there might be another future statue waiting to happen. But if I was able to get in, this is the exact statue I would have seen. It's Eric and Ernie, together as they should be, Morecambe and Wise. Blackpool was where Morecambe and Wise really found their feet as a double act, honing their act in front of big summer holiday audiences. So it only seems fitting that the boys are right here, outside the Opera House, which is just inside the Winter Gardens. Every single time I've played this venue, I always give Eric and Ernie a tap for good luck. And so far, it's served me well. So that's the Morecambe and Wise statue at the Winter Gardens, Blackpool. But of course, it isn't the only statue of these two guys, and it just so happens if I drive up the coast a little bit, I might find one of these guys again. So up the M6 I go, to a little place, funnily enough, called Morecambe. And as if by YouTube magic, here I am, with the man himself. Obviously on the seafront here in Morecambe, perhaps one of the most famous of the comedy statues that there is. Actually, this one here, Eric Morecambe, on the front in Morecambe. I mean, this whole area is absolutely awesome. I've been here a few times. I don't actually remember this area at the front. Maybe this is a new thing, I'm not sure. But I've visited the statue loads. But isn't it fantastic, this? But of course, it's Morecambe and Wise, isn't it? It's not just Morecambe. So what about Ernie? Has he got a statue anywhere? Well, it just so happens that he does. And it just so happens it's not too far from my house in Morley in Leeds.
So, as I've been touring around the country finding all of these fantastic statues, I've realised that most of them are cast out of bronze. But not this one. No. Ernie always liked to do things a little different anyway, didn't he? You see, this one here, on the pedestrian precinct in Morley Town Centre, you'll find a stone sculpture of Ernie Wise, paying tribute to his days as a variety performer and close to where the Morley Pavilion was, a place where Ernie Wise performed as a young boy. What I really love about this statue is the fact that it's 7 foot tall, 2 metres. That's right, finally, little Ern is not so little anymore.
So, from one of the biggest comedy double acts of all time to another one. Let's head down to Lytham St Anne's, where I'm going to see an old friend of mine.
Tommy Cannon and Bobby Ball were 2 working class lads from Oldham who turned their friendship and their banter and their cheek into comedy gold as Cannon and Ball. They met while working together as welders and started performing in clubs as a singing duo before discovering their real gift, making people laugh. And by the late 70s, the Cannon and Ball show had made them household names, a Saturday night staple packed with sketches, slapstick and that infectious catchphrase, "Rock on, Tommy." Bobby Ball passed away in 2020, but his spirit and that trademark chuckle still echo today, proof that comedy built on heart never goes out of style.
This is a bit surreal, this one. This is the first statue on this journey that I actually knew the guy who it's the statue of. This is Bobby Ball, of course, from Cannon and Ball fame. And Bobby was a pal of mine who I was really lucky to work with on a few occasions, actually, doing little mini tours up and down the country. He was such a great guy. I'll never forget, I did a TV job once. It was called The Syndicate for Kay Mellor, and it was on like on a Tuesday afternoon or something like that. But the following morning I was out for brunch with my mum, and I got a phone call and it was Bobby just saying, "Hey love, I saw you on telly last night, you were fabulous." Isn't that nice? He didn't have to do that, and I thought that was a really nice thing to do. Anyway, I was really lucky to work with Bobby, and of course the amazing Tommy Cannon, who is just brilliant. I love Tommy. On a few occasions, and most recently actually, it was funnily enough here at the Lowther Pavilion. You see, this is in Lowther Gardens, just behind the Lowther Pavilion Theatre, and this was actually the last place that I worked with them both. I've worked with Tommy since, but not last time I worked with Bobby was right here. So if you're ever in Lytham, pop over to the Lowther Pavilions and come and see Bobby. Rock on, Tommy. So, here I am now at the end of St Anne's Pier in this lovely little garden here. And look who's behind me. Yes, it's the one and only Les Dawson. Should we go and have a look? Come on. There we go. What a brilliant statue this is. Bronze, by the sounds of it. And a real sort of fitting tribute to such an amazing comedy legend as Les Dawson.
Born in Manchester in 1931, Dawson worked a string of jobs before discovering his true calling, comedy. His humour was sharp, northern and wonderfully self-deprecating. He wasn't the slick showman, he was the bloke from down the street, telling you jokes about his wife, his mother-in-law and life's little let-me-downs. He is a comic who had poet's wit wrapped in pub storyteller's charm. And when he sat down at that piano, well, audiences roared.
But it's here, like I said, at the end of St Anne's Pier, and if you are passing Lytham St Anne's, do make sure you stop by and see old Les, because this is a fabulous, fabulous statue, and it's a lot taller than I thought it was. So, from one comedy legend to two, I'm going up the M6 now, all the way up to the Lake District, and you're going to come with me because I'm going to find two of the originals, two of the OGs. That's right, I'm going to find some real comedy legends.
So I hit the road, and pretty soon I was driving through the Lake District, the window down and blasting out a few tunes and maybe singing along as well. I do love this drive.
And here I am. Well, first of all, that was a lovely drive. Beautiful drive up through the Lake District. If you've never done it, it's well worth it. And I've made it all the way here to the Laurel and Hardy Museum in Ulverston. So just around the corner, I've been reliably informed that we have the Laurel and Hardy statues. So obviously I'm going to go and have a quick peep at them. But while I'm here, I thought I'd have a look at the Laurel and Hardy Museum too. So I thought you might fancy coming and having a look. What do you think?
You might be wondering, why is a little town in the Lake District paying tribute to Laurel and Hardy? Well, it just so happens that Stan Laurel was born here in Ulverston. Hence the museum and the statue. Yes, the statue that I've driven 3 hours to see. Well, things don't always go according to plan, do they?
Well, that's typical, isn't it? The one day I've come up here is the day they're cleaning them. But I managed to get a close look at them. So yeah, I'm chuffed a bit about that. But here I am in Ulverston, as you can see outside the Coronation Hall, with the Laurel and Hardy statue. So come over, let's have a quick peep, shall we?
Yeah, they're getting a shampoo, blow dry,
Do they?
and a wax twice a year.
All right, that's brilliant.
Before television, before talkies, before sitcoms, before sketch shows, there was Laurel and Hardy. Stan Laurel, the bumbling Brit with the tearful grin, and Oliver Hardy, the pompous American forever exasperated by his friends' chaos. They met in the silent film era and together created a language of laughter that didn't need words, just looks, timing, and perfect chemistry. Laurel and Hardy weren't just funny, they were human. Two friends, always stumbling and always sticking together.
Well, that's just my luck, isn't it? And the one day, one of 2 days of the year that they clean them, and I'm here for that day. Oh, well, never mind. But also, I'll tell you what you would be interested in as well is we have got the Laurel and Hardy, can't even speak, we have got the Laurel and Hardy statue here in Ulverston, but if we were to go to the other side of the country, South Shields, we can also see this fella as well.
It's actually North Shields, Neil. Come on, get it right. Anyway, as we know, Stan Laurel was born in Ulverston, but he spent his childhood here in North Shields, and that's why they've got this fantastic statue there honouring the great man himself. And like the Eric Morecambe one earlier, you just can't help but recreate the pose.
So there we have it, from South Shields back over here to Ulverston. It's time now, though, to head down the country. You see, I've ticked off everybody up in the north. It's time to head south and find some more comedy heroes immortalised in bronze and stone and, well, who knows what else. Come on, let's go. So I'm currently in Bury, just outside Bury Library actually, and I've been circumnavigating the M60 today, going all around Manchester, on the lookout for different fabulous, amazing comedy entertainer statues. And I found one of my absolute heroes right here in Bury, and she is just over there.
It's hard to think of someone who's a writer, a singer, a comedian, an actress, and someone who found funny in everyday life better than Victoria Wood. From queuing for a cuppa to awkward dinner parties, her humour was sharp but never cruel. Full of warmth, rhythm, and truth, she gave a voice to ordinary women, making the mundane magnificent and the tragic hilarious. From the ballad of Barry and Frida to dinner ladies, she didn't just make people laugh, she made them feel seen. She was a storyteller, a musician, and of course, a national treasure.
And here she is, Victoria Wood, here in the centre of Bury, just outside Bury Library. And it's a really cool statue, this, and I think quite a good likeness. Do you know, in all the years I've been doing what I do for a job as an actor, I've worked with some amazing people, and I had the opportunity once to do a TV show with Victoria Wood, but I failed the audition. Gutted I was. So I suppose this is the closest I'll ever get to appearing on screen with her. Anyway, this is Victoria Wood, and this is Bury Library, and well worth a visit. Lovely statue, as you can see, and a nice little garden area as well to have a look at. Well, from one iconic Lancashire lass to another. You see, I just so happen to have driven down the road a little bit and made my way, checking the road, made my way to Rochdale. Now, if I talk about Rochdale, an iconic women from the city, well, from the town, there's can only be one, can't there? One of the originals, one of the OGs. Sally, Sally.
It's here in Rochdale where we meet a girl who sang, joked and laughed her way into Britain's heart. I'm talking, of course, about Gracie Fields. She started in the music halls and became one of the biggest stars of the 1930s, a singer, an actress and a comedian with warmth and grit. During the war, she performed for the troops across the world and was a voice of home when they felt far away. She wasn't just a performer, she was a symbol of hope, of heart and of humour. The original Northern Star.
And there she is, on a windy day in Rochdale. Me and Gracie Fields.
To millions, she was our Gracie, the voice that lifted Britain's spirits when the world seemed dark. This statue here in Rochdale is a fitting reminder of the laughter, the love and the humour given to us by a true legend. Forever, our Gracie.
Now, of course, Gracie Fields was who? Ding dong. Of course, Gracie Fields was one of the biggest stars of the war era. So I think we should have another look for somebody from the war era. And I've got a funny feeling if we head Wigan way, we might find somebody. A little chap who plays a ukulele. I think you know who I'm talking about, don't you?
I think it's actually impossible to pick up a ukulele and not strum it and say, "Turn out nice again." Before there was pop stars, before stand-up comedians, there was George Formby, the cheeky lad from Wigan who strummed his way and sang his way into legend. With songs full of double meanings and northern charm, he made everyday mischief sound like music. When I'm Cleaning Windows became an anthem, naughty enough to make you blush and innocent enough for your nan to sing along with. During the war, he took his humour to the front lines, lifting the spirits and laughter when needed most. He was more than just a comic, he was a one-man variety show. A grin, a tune, and a twinkle in his eye.
Well, it's the middle of August, so obviously it's raining. I'm in a car park in Wigan, and I'm on my way now to the Grand Arcade, where I'm going to find a statue of a gentleman born in Wigan in 1904, who was a massive star during the war years. This is George Formby.
And here he is, Ukulele George himself. And by the looks of things, he's been drawn on by crayons. I think they tried to turn him into the Joker. It really is fitting that he's here in the middle of this shopping centre among the real people of Wigan, because that's who he wanted to always be. He wanted to always be this real character, this real person that lived here in Wigan, a man of the people.
Get a selfie with him, look. Cheese. So I'm having to do this little introduction from inside my car because there's a storm a brewing outside. It's absolutely torrential. I'm in an underground car park in Preston. Now, I've come to find some amazing statues. I'm actually thrilled to be here because I've been here before and I've seen these statues and I absolutely love them. These statues are some heroes of mine. Some plasticine heroes of mine. I'm talking about Wallace and Gromit. All right. No, technically they're not stand-up comedians. They're not comedy legends in the sense that we're going for with this video. But they make me laugh, and I love their statues. And this time they've been joined by somebody new, a certain penguin with a rubber glove on his head. I think you know who I'm talking about, don't you? Feathers McGraw. So yeah, last time I was here a few years ago, Feathers McGraw wasn't there, but he is now. He's been put in since then. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to it, but the weather is bad. The weather is bad. So let's see how I get on. Wow. It's windy here today. My word. Oh my goodness.
But I made it here. Look at these two. How cool is this? I love this statue.
Well, it's unbelievably windy here. But I'm with Wallace and Gromit. Hopefully you can hear me. So Wallace here.
And Gromit, of course. It's the wrong trousers, Gromit, and they've gone wrong. This is a brilliant statue here, just outside the market in Preston.
And then if we look, just over here, oh my word, it's so windy. And there he is, the most evil criminal mastermind of all time, Feathers McGraw.
This is the inventor called Wallace and his silent but brilliant dog, Gromit, two of the most charming characters ever to be made out of Play-Doh. Dreamt up by animator Nick Park at Aardman Animations, they made stop-motion magic feel alive. Every blink and every smile painstakingly crafted frame by frame. Whether it was a grand day out or the wrong trousers or even Curse of the Weir Rabbit, their adventures blended slapstick, heart and a very British kind of madness. Handcrafted, heartfelt and hilariously inventive, Wallace and Gromit reminds us that genius and silliness can always be the perfect pair.
Well, good morning. Another day, another statue. I've just parked up here in a village called Timperley, which is just outside Altrincham, and I've come to look for a comedy character. Yeah, so it's not just a comedian, this one, or not a comedy actor. It's actually a character of a famous comedy icon. So, while I'm here, I think I might grab some breakfast because it's very early. But I'm going to head on over into the village square and see if I can find them.
Back in the 1980s, Chris Seavey brought us Frank Sidebottom. Part pop star, part cartoon, but completely unique. A suburban superstar from Timperley who sang off key and told jokes that almost made sense. Seavey mixed music, comedy and chaos into something both funny and oddly touching. He might have been made out of papier-mâché, but Frank Sidebottom really had soul. Oh wow, look at this, here he is. I love this, how cool is that?
There we have him, look, Frank Sidebottom. Look at this brilliant comedy character, isn't it? I think this is probably my favourite statue so far. I think he's brilliant.
Do you know, I really like seeing the colour on the statue. You know, I'm so used to seeing so many statues now that are just bronze or just stone. But to just see this sparkle of colour over Frank Sidebottom's head, it's just, well, I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. Well, I could have stayed with Frank all afternoon. I absolutely love that statue. But it was time to get over to Liverpool because I had a rendezvous there with another old friend.
So I've made my way over to Liverpool now to find another statue of another friend, actually, someone who's sadly passed away and no longer with us. But they're here in Liverpool, so I thought I'd pay them a visit. And what a guy this fella was. He was so kind to me early in my career, and I worked with him on a few shows over the years. And yeah, I can't wait to go see his statue. I'm talking about this guy here. Sir Ken Dodd.
With his wild hair, toothy grin and a tickling stick in hand, Sir Ken Dodd was the very definition of a born entertainer. From Liverpool's music halls to record-breaking theatre runs, Doddy's shows could last for hours and hours and hours. His jokes were quick-fire, clean and delightfully daft, built on wordplay, whimsy and that unstoppable energy that made him a national treasure. And let's not forget, he wasn't just a comedian, but a singer too. And his hit Happiness summed him up perfectly. Warm, joyful and full of heart. He brought laughter to millions for more than 6 decades, proof that the greatest gift you can give is a smile and maybe a tickle.
Now, I absolutely love where they put this statue here at the doorway of Liverpool Lime Street Station. So you can say hello to him every day when you get off the train. The problem is, it's up a bit of a hill, man, and I'm exhausted now. And here he is, look, the old pal Ken. Fantastic statue this, I especially love the tickling stick as well. God bless you, mate. Nice to see you again. course, you've got to have your tickling stick, and look who's here. One of his Diddy men. This was, of course, Dickie Mint. Yeah, that was strange seeing that again. It is weird when you sort of know the people as well. That is quite weird. But I mean, what a great guy, and he was always really kind to me. I'll never forget once I turned up at the stage door of the Futurist Theatre because I was dropping some stuff off for a show I was doing there the following night. But Doddy was on that night, and he saw me and he says, "Hi Neil, come on in." And I was just chatting to him and said, "Oh, I'd love to be able to do what you do." And he said, "Look, well, get a chair and sit there." And he put a chair in the wings for me, and I literally sat in the wings and watched Ken do his show. And it was just a masterclass. He taught me loads of amazing things, and he's one of the only guys who I know that used to put little red dots in the corner of his eyes when he'd go on stage. So, you know, his eyes look bigger under the lighting and everything. But yeah, he also taught me, and I still do it to this day. So here's a little tip to me, from me to you, from Doddy. He said, every time you come on stage, why don't you make a Z with your eyes? See, look at everybody in the audience. If you make a Z shape, you'll have clocked eyes with everybody in the audience, and then you'll know that you've sort of made a connection with everyone. I love that, and I still kind of do that today. So thanks for that, Ken. Anyway, it's time now to find some more statues, and I think I'm going to head a little bit further south for this one. So if you're ready, come on, let's jump in the car and let's crack on.
So, fueled by a ginster's pasty from a motorway services, I was heading south. So far south, I ended up in old London town, on the lookout for some more of my comedy heroes.
And I made it, look. I'm here, in London's famous London. This is Trafalgar Square, as you can, probably tell. Up there, we've got Piccadilly Circus, and in that direction over there, we've got Leicester Square, and that's where we're heading next. You see, Leicester Square just so happens to be home to something called Scenes in the Square, where we're going to find another couple of statues to have a look at. Shall we go? Come on.
Right in the heart of London's West End, where lights dazzle and red carpets roll out, stands Scenes in the Square, a celebration of movie magic throughout the ages. Here, bronze statues bring film history to life, from Laurel and Hardy balancing on a ladder, Paddington eating his marmalade sandwiches, and Batman watching down ominously from above. Each figure tells a story of imagination, laughter, and the timeless joy of cinema. And it's here we find two individual statues that we really have to talk about.
Look who's here! I found Mr. Bean!
This is a man of few words and endless chaos. The man who turned everyday life into a masterclass in physical comedy. Created and played by Rowan Atkinson, he first appeared on our televisions in 1990 and became a modern echo of the great silent clowns like Chaplin and Laurel and Hardy. Clumsy, selfish, ridiculous, and utterly unforgettable, Mr. Bean proved then, and still today, that you don't need words to make the whole world laugh. And from one silent comedy star to the very next, and perhaps the granddaddy of them all, I'm talking about the man with the bowler hat, the cane, and the wobbly walk.
I even found Charlie Chaplin here as well. It's brilliant here. I love it. See ya.
This is Charlie Chaplin, one of the most recognisable figures in cinema history. Born here in London in 1889, Chaplin rose from the music halls all the way to Hollywood, where he turned film into something poetic, mixing slapstick with sympathy, laughter with tears. He didn't just make people laugh, he made them feel, and became the biggest movie star in history. So while I was in London, I thought perhaps it would be a good idea to visit the London Palladium, a theatre I've been lucky to play on numerous occasions, and perhaps one of the most famous and iconic venues in the whole world. For over a century, the London Palladium has been the beating heart of British entertainment, and outside its doors, you find this, the Wall of Fame. Every plaque marks a legend who has graced this famous stage, from Arthur Askey and Bing Crosby, to Tom Jones, Ronnie Corbett, and of course, Sir Bruce Forsyth. From variety to pop to pantomime and TV spectaculars, the Palladium has hosted them all. A place where newcomers dream and icons return.
And here they all are, look. Well, good morning. It's a beautiful day in old London town, so much so I decided to come for a little walk. Found a little park up here and I thought I'd take you to see it. Had a great day yesterday. As you know, I went to see the statues of Mr. Bean, Charlie Chaplin and all the other ones there in the middle of Leicester Square. But after that I decided to go see a show, obviously. I was in London. What else are you meant to do? But then I did a bit of Googling last night. It turns out there's another comedy legend here in Finchley. So, jumped on a tube, jumped off at Finchley Central, and I've come to a place called Stephen's House and Gardens, where we're going to find a legend of comedy from the radio days, television days, even movies as well. So, let's see if we can find him, eh?
Our next comedy legend didn't just tell jokes, he reinvented them. A poet, a prankster, and a comedy pioneer, this is Spike Milligan. Born in India and raised in London, Spike found fame in the 1950s with The Goon Show, a surreal radio comedy that blew apart everything British humour had been. It was fast, absurd, and brilliantly daft, inspiring everyone from Monty Python to modern sketch shows. But behind the laughter was a man who battled darkness, but always turned pain into playfulness. Spike was unpredictable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. Proof that comedy's greatest gift has to be madness.
Here he is. This is Spike Milligan, and this is his bench here in St Stephen's Gardens. Now, he used to live around here, apparently, and the money made for this bench to be put here was organised by the Finchley Society, which he was a member of, which is really interesting. It's made out of bronze and by John Somerville, and it was unveiled in 2014, so it's pretty cool. And I tell you what, as you look around the bench, you can see some of the characters he made famous. Some fairies as well. Some really interesting things. I've got to be honest with you. I'm far too young. Oh, look, here are the other goons down here, look. I've got to be honest with you, I'm probably a little bit too young. Well, definitely too young to remember the Goon Show being on the radio. But I'm well aware of their legacy and everything, so it's amazing to be here. That's Spike. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? Enjoyed that. So yeah, if you fancy that, get yourself to St Stephen's House and Gardens in London. Get off at Finchley Central on the tube. Right, next stop for me, I think I'm going to get out of London now and head back north. Not entirely sure where yet, but we'll find out. See you soon.
And north I went, for about 3 miles, and then when I hit the M4 I headed west, very west in fact, all the way to the land of song itself, across the Severn Bridge and into Wales, because our next comedy legend just happens to be from a little place called Caerphilly.
Ah, Borada. See, I'm in South Wales this morning, actually in a place called Caerphilly. There's Caerphilly Castle just behind me there, and I'm on the hunt for another statue, and actually I can see him right here. The statue was unveiled a few years ago by another local gentleman around here called Anthony Hopkins. You might have heard of him, but it pays tribute to a guy born here in Caerphilly I think you might recognise.
With a fez on his head, a wand in his hand, and you can guarantee chaos in the air, Tommy Cooper turned magic tricks into pure comedy gold. He actually started as a real magician, but when his tricks began to fail, the audience laughed. And that's when he realised he'd found something even better. With his booming laugh, his clumsy charm, and perfect timing, he became one of Britain's most loved entertainers, a master of getting it wrong in exactly the right way.
And here he is, Tommy Cooper. So this statue was unveiled in 2008, like I said, by Anthony Hopkins, who was the patron at the time, he probably still is, of the Tommy Cooper Society. So, hey, it's brilliant to be here. It's a lovely day in South Wales. Right, time to say goodbye to Tommy. See you later, mate, and head back to England now. I've got a gentleman to go find literally on the other side of the country now, in a place called Thetford. So from Cardiff, well, Caerphilly, all the way to Thetford now. This is a long drive. I'm going to have to stick a few podcasts on here.
Okay, confession time. I got about halfway to Thetford, realised it was far too far to travel in one day, and went back home for my tea. But a few days later, I was heading Norfolk way to complete this little journey.
So I'm just having a wander along the canal here in Norfolk in a place called Thetford. This is an absolutely beautiful little place. It really, really is. And I'm here to find a beloved comedy character who sits on the side of the canal. Now, before there was Del Boy, before there was Hyacinth Bouquet, before there was, Ricky Gervais's office, there was one amazing sitcom that really sort of started the real trend for these wonderful stories being on our screens every week. So who could it possibly be? Well, I'll give you a clue. Who do you think you're kidding, Mr. Hitler? This guy knows who it is. Whatever you do, don't tell him, Pike.
A band of bumbling heroes, a sleepy seaside town, and the Second World War. That was the sitcom that marched straight into British hearts. I'm talking, of course, about Dad's Army. And it's here in Thetford that we find the statue of a pompous, patriotic, and perfectly British Captain Mainwaring, the self-appointed leader of the Warmington-on-Sea Home Guard. Played brilliantly by Arthur Lowe, Mainwaring was a bank manager turned wartime commander, convinced that he was Churchill's equal, even if his platoon wasn't quite the same calibre. He was bossy, blustering and often wrong, but underneath it all there was real courage and decency. Captain Mainwaring wasn't just leading the Home Guard, he was leading the nation's laughter.
And here he is. Look at this. It's quite weird, actually, just sort of sat here by the side of the canal. But it's a lovely little square they've got all set out for him. But no, I love this statue. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I've always been a fan of Dad's Army, so to come here and see this is pretty cool and pretty special. So there's Captain Mainwaring. Right, on to find another little treasure now. And it just so happens, because I'm sort of this side of the country, that there's another one in a place called Aylesbury, and I'm going to go find him next. Anyway, from me here in Thetford, time to oh, there you are. It's time to keep on with this little mission.
However, as this video is almost finished, before we head over to Aylesbury, I thought it might be nice to pick up on some of the comedy legends that have been immortalised as statues, but I haven't been able to get to for this video. The first two of those are over on the Isle of Man, and as much as I love you and thank you for watching this video, there is no way on God's green earth I am doing the Isle of Man ferry. Nobody gets quite as seasick as me. But on the island we can find statues of both Norman Wisdom, this is a lovely one, isn't it, in this lovely bench where you can sit down and have a little chat with him, and another George Formby, celebrating the Manx TT racers, which he was such a big fan of, and even made a movie about. I wasn't able to get down to Cornwall either, where there's a statue of the comedian Jethro, which can be found at a place called Trago Mills, alongside the River Foy in the beautiful Glyn Valley. And finally, down in Brighton, one of the most famous comedians of the early 20th century. This is, of course, Max Miller. Do you know, there are loads of different statues all over the country which bring smiles to people's faces whenever they look at them. And it's just been absolutely amazing going around the country and visiting all of these different places and seeing all these different, fantastic and hilarious statues. And alright, some are better than others, but each one of them has their own unique charm. And if you fancy doing this, well, make sure you look in the description of this video. You see, I've written out where all the different locations are, so perhaps you can go and visit some of your comedy heroes as well. But for now, it's time to head to Aylesbury.
So, we've made it. This is, unfortunately, the last statue on the visit. And I've decided to come here. This is the Waterside Theatre in Aylesbury. I've played a few shows here. Full Monty I did here, Hairspray. And what I loved about it is it's such a great town, and also there's somebody keeping an eye on you when you're doing your shows. So I think you might like to meet him. Come on, he's over here.
And it's Ronnie Barker. That's right, one of my absolute comedy heroes. I mean, few comedians could play with language quite like Ronnie, whether he was a pompous prison inmate, a stuttering shopkeeper, or one half of one of Britain's favourite double acts. This guy's timing was absolutely flawless. And here he sits, outside the Waterside Theatre, cast in bronze with his trademark smile frozen mid-mischief.
And that's right, Ronnie Barker, one of the greatest of them all. And if you ever are here in Aylesbury, come on down to the Waterside Theatre, have a sit with Ronnie here and have a photo or two. Anyway, that's the end of this journey. Hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you have, do me a little favour. Give us a like, thumbs up down below. And 'cause it does really help with the algorithm. And also, if you've enjoyed the video and you want to see some more, have a look at what else I've got on here. You know, subscribe to the channel and all that. Anyway, guess all that's left to say is it's good night from me. And it's good night from him. See you later.